Obama's ICE chief gets an award for 920,000 removals. Trump's ICE chief is called a Nazi. Same guy, Tom Homan, was in charge of it for Obama. Obama deported in 2012 409,000 people. Trump in 2025, 290. Wow. You got to do the math. It's so frustrating because, like you said, they've taken such an anti-Trump administration position that no matter what he does, even if it is in the name of good intentions, the problem is Minnesota is a sanctuary state. So because they're a sanctuary state, they do not cooperate with ICE. They can arrest somebody for a violent crime, have them in jail, and they release them on the street. And so ICE is forced to go get these people in the streets.
My life is non-binary in Minnesota. First I wake up, then I do my hair. Now time for makeup. All right, let's go find some ice.
Fucking idiot.
We're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, they're not. No, we're pressed. No, we're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
But oh boy, it going down. God bless them beautiful patriots around the world. What's going on, family? I hope everybody that's tuned in right now that you are blessed, well, and healthy, man. Let's rock out, man. 24/7, 7 days a week, giving it to you straight, giving it to you, no sugarcoating it, calling it off of what it is. We must seek truth. The truth will set you free. The truth will make you free. Minnesota's a god doggone disgrace. Minneapolis, a disgrace. They say, this is tweeted, I seen this tweet earlier going viral. Tweet of the day. We can purchase Greenland less than funding a daycare in Minnesota. Somali soda. Now, we've been showing you a lot of clips on the ground on what's going on. And again, we've been showing you a lot of things on this show that they don't want to show you, that the mainstream media that doesn't want to show you, you know, the fake news, mainstream corporate media. We are the media, family. But oh boy, we got some breaking. Just now, the FBI has just served subpoenas to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and Mayor Jacob Frey as part of a major investigation. So yes, bring on the accountability. Walz, Ellison, and Frey are responsible for inciting and allowing rampant violence against ICE and storming the Minneapolis church. It got so bad, man. These people are walking into churches, man. I never thought I would see it. Man. It is an absolute disgrace.
Get to that, I want to get to the breaking news we have just heard. The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz. We will bring you more information as we get it on those subpoenas. Meantime, the number of protesters out here at the federal building is diminishing every day, it seems, but the war of words between local officials and the Trump administration. Get to that.
A disgrace though, man. You know, but this is why we showed y'all, you know, the sweet hypocrisy. We showed y'all the difference. We showed y'all the hypocrites. You know, we showed you why it, you know, when it was Obama, when it was not a peep, man. But now that Trump's back and it's attached to Trump, everything is bad. He can do the best thing for the country. He can do what he said he was going to do. He can do what he promised, and it's still bad. It's still not good enough. You know, the hell with the sanctuaries. I ought to cut everything, man. It ought to be a sweep in this state and many others, man. But just y'all think it's big now? Just wait. With the fraud and everything that's going on, just wait till we get to all these other places, man. People are really gonna drop their jaw. People are really going to drop their jaw. And last night, DHS announced they've arrested over 3,000 illegal immigrants in Minnesota just in a night. Walls Sanctuary Playground is getting cleaned out hard.
DHS announced tonight that they have arrested a total of some 3,000 illegal immigrants in Minnesota.
Get them gone.
Including the
Fuck your feelings. Get them gone. Get them gone. You got to go. Y'all don't want to do right? You got to go. It's law and order now. The people already spoke loud and clear. It's time to pack your bags. You know, they've been real nice and patient and gentle with y'all. Trump has been real nice and gentle, you know, lately. He been real nice, man. That's what really blow me. Real nice. Been real nice with you corrupt politicians. Ones that be able to be walked out with your hands behind your god doggone back. They had a little thing where they were giving away money. They give you $1,000. I heard I heard they give you $3,000 on some things, on some cases. They were giving away money to send you back. They've been real nice with y'all, man. I tell you.
weekend, several convicted of crimes such as homicide and sexual assault. Meantime, several dozen protesters remain here at the federal building.
But these are who these people are protecting. The worst of the worst. Like we showed y'all what them people were doing as they're literally trying to take out a child offender. These people are oh man, it gets me. I can't even get it out because it pisses me off, man. You know, it really does piss me off, man, to a point where they say, Rick, sir, your blood pressure. We don't want to run your blood pressure up today, but I'm serious. It pisses me off, man.
Protesting the actions of federal agents, but they are staying behind the newly erected barriers put here by the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department. It is a simple and effective so far measure that raises the obvious question: why didn't local law enforcement do this last week? Brett?
Exactly. Jonathan Hunt live in Minneapolis. John.
Oh boy, you just can't make it up, man. But this is who Sanctuary City politicians and anti-ICE agitators are defending. Look at this clown here. A child predator. You know, and ICE just arrested this clown. Look, this is who they just arrested, y'all. These are the people in our communities, in our streets, in our country. These are the people here. And this is who they are protecting and defending. Look. Look. Oh, nasty scumbag. But we've had enough, man. People have had enough. You know, Nick Shirley on the ground still exposing more fraud. You know, these people getting millions of dollars. A disgrace, man. A huge slap in the face to we the people. Taxpayers robbed in broad daylight. I'm going to call it out for what it is, man. You know, and we send our prayers to journalists on the ground, to the Nick Shirleys, you know, to his team and many other people that are on the ground now. I told you, it's going to get to the point, like I said, people have had enough, man. And we are going to on the mainstream media. We're going to take a big crap on the media, the mainstream media, and we're going to do the job others are supposed to be doing. I told y'all. This country's at a breaking point, man. We've had enough. And none of this will be going on if Trump didn't get back in the White House. This is why they didn't want him back in. Everything that's going on. Everything that is going on. And that's why the gaslighting, the fear mongering, the misinformation, that's why it will never stop. It will never stop. And it will always be the big bad orange man, racist, he's lying, fascist, Nazi, you know. But the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. I want to get into this FBI and ICE raid Minneapolis network, and you won't believe what they found. I want to check this out from Dr. Steve.
The Pentagon just put 1,500 troops on standby for deployment to Minneapolis. Not a foreign war zone, not a natural disaster. An American city where federal agents are being hunted by organized networks of activists and where 2 top state officials may have orchestrated the largest welfare fraud scheme in U.S. history and who just got caught rigging elections for a decade. It's all starting to make sense now. And even the legacy media is now admitting that it's all coming crashing down. The entire Democrat Party apparatus is imploding. We've got the receipts. Wait till you see this. Breaking news. Within 24 hours after Renee Good was shot and killed after she accelerated her vehicle towards an ICE agent, an encrypted signal chat fired up all across South Minneapolis. Hundreds of residents began coordinating in real time, checking license plates, setting up homemade checkpoints with blue recycling bins, following unmarked federal vehicles through neighborhoods. Parents armed themselves with whistles for school drop-off. They weren't just protesting, they were literally hunting. This is ICE Watch, a nationwide network that's trained over 10,000 Americans since Trump's inauguration, and tactics borrowed from the civil rights movement, except now they're using those tactics to obstruct federal law enforcement. They monitor, they follow, they alert entire neighborhoods when agents arrive, and according to federal officials, they're crossing the line from observation into criminal obstruction.
These are acts of insurrection against the laws of the United States and against the sovereignty of the United States. Foreign illegal aliens who broke into this country, who then raped children, who committed human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, protected, shielded, sheltered, coddled, defended at every level by the leadership in Minnesota. And then when ICE goes out to make these arrests, they unleash violent mobs to attack, assault, and impede ICE officers, and they refuse to allow the city police to protect those ICE officers in the conduct of their duties, willfully aiding and abetting this violence.
But here's where this story gets truly explosive, because the protests, the ICE raids, the federal crackdown, none of it is really about immigration enforcement. It's about what investigators discovered when they started following the money. On January 6th, the House Oversight Committee held a hearing that barely made national news but should have stopped the country cold. Minnesota state lawmakers testified under oath that Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison were personally warned about massive welfare fraud for years and did nothing. In fact, it's worse than nothing. They fired the whistleblowers. They retaliated against state employees who tried to sound the alarm. Minnesota State Representative Kristen Robbins testified that Walz knew about the fraud from the very beginning back in 2018 when he was running for governor and the prosecutions were already making headlines. Another state representative was even more direct. He charged that Walz not only absolutely knew about the fraud, he was indeed complicit in it. The numbers are staggering. Federal prosecutors estimate $9 billion stolen from Minnesota's social services system since 2018. Half of the $18 billion spent across 4 programs was stolen. Chairman James Comer revealed that 86% of the Somali population in Minnesota receives Medicaid, free health care, food stamps, housing, transportation, daycare. Over 80%. And then investigators found something even more disturbing. Audio evidence entered into evidence at trial of Attorney General Keith Ellison at a meeting with members of that very Somali community who were later convicted of fraud, promising to keep the money flowing to programs under investigation.
Of course I'm here to help. I mean, but let me be clear. I'm not here because I think it's going to help my re-election. Mm-hmm. I don't care about no re-election. Mm-hmm. I voluntarily threw my congressional career away. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's boring to me. So to do this, to do what I'm doing now. So of course, I didn't leave that job to do nothing in this job. I mean, am I going to get more hits than I got by prosecuting a police officer and giving them life in prison? Right? So let's just go fight these people.
2 weeks later, his campaign received contributions from those same groups at that same meeting. But all of this is nothing compared to the real fraud that was just uncovered, a fraud that affects all of us. According to an investigative report by John Solomon, we are now discovering that all of this was nothing less than a coordinated effort to artificially boost Democrat numbers in the House of Representatives. And here's how it worked. Back in 2020, the Democrats effectively reversed Trump's first-term census orders to ensure illegal immigrants were indeed counted in the census. Now, in fairness, they had a little help from the Supreme Court in that, but regardless, illegal migrants were counted in the 2020 census, which, of course, is good for a decade. And so what did the Democrats do? Well, in anticipation of the 2030 census, Democrats opened the southern border with over 11 million illegal migrants coming into the nation under Joe Biden. And then liberal nonprofits deliberately moved these illegal migrants from red border states to blue sanctuary cities like Minneapolis. They enrolled them in welfare programs. And then Democrat officials looked the other way when billions were stolen because those communities were now voting blocs contributing to Democrat campaigns. So as it turns out, it was all a scheme to artificially boost the numbers for Democrats in the House, recognizing that if they didn't import these foreign voters, the 2030 census and the electoral reapportionment would wipe out the Democrat Party. It would forever shut them out from ever achieving a congressional majority again.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm sure many of you know this, but with so many people, we're talking tens of millions leaving blue states for red states are poised to dominate Congress as well as the Electoral College for the next generation after 2030. The only way the Democrats figured that they could survive that electoral tsunami is by importing tens of millions of voters by way of an open southern border. And so as thousands of ICE agents storm Minneapolis, these Democrats are now realizing to their horror that that plan has completely collapsed. And we've got the numbers to prove it. Wait till you see this. Bombshell revelation exact number, but it's about 4 times the amount of millions in Minnesota. Now, when you combine that with the previous arrest total before the federal agent surge last month, that's a total now of over 5,000 illegal aliens arrested in Minnesota in just the last several months. Now, given that the state has an estimated 100,000 illegals living there that have been basically bussed in, if we count the number that have voluntarily deported, we don't know the exact number, but it's about 4 times the amount who are arrested. That's the national average. 600,000 nationally have been arrested. 2 million have self-deported. But if we factor in the 4x average of those who voluntarily self-deported, we may, in fact, be seeing as many as 20% of Minnesota's illegal migrant population gone in Trump's first year in office. It's astonishing. Now, by those numbers, they'll virtually all be gone by the end of Trump's term. And according to a report by Ryan Gerdusky, this mass deportation is already on track to cost Minnesota at least 1 congressional seat. Minnesota held on to its 8th congressional district in 2020 by 89 people. 89. Do the math. These arrests and deportations alone could already have cost Minnesota a congressional seat in the 2030 census. An electoral college vote, federal funding, political power redistributed from the state that enabled fraud to states that enforce the law. This is why 1,500 troops are on standby. This is why Trump is threatening the Insurrection Act. This is why Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fryboy and Governor Tampon Tim are both under criminal investigation by the Department of Justice for obstruction of federal law enforcement. And this is why Minneapolis is currently being overrun by federal law enforcement made up of 4 times as many agents as the entire Minneapolis Police Department. The National Guard is being mobilized as we speak. Active duty soldiers trained in cold weather operations are being packed and ready in Alaska. And investigators are saying this pattern, the fraud, the sanctuary policies, the election manipulation isn't limited to Minnesota. They're opening probes in California, New York, Illinois. And now even the legacy media is admitting that these fraud scandals could have national implications for the Democrats. The Hill just published a piece that has Democratic strategists literally terrified because they're arguing that a blue state that hasn't voted for a Republican presidential candidate since Richard Nixon in 1972 is cracking. Tim Walz already withdrew from his gubernatorial race, leaving Democrats without a single candidate. Senator Tina Smith announced she's retiring, creating a second open Senate seat.
Tell Dr. Steve his clothes ready. Y'all heard that? I hear everything, man. I hear everything. Y'all be on my butt in the comment section when y'all hear something. So, hey, it's only right. You know, tell Dr. Steve his clothes is ready. I heard that washing machine go off.
The party that dominated Minnesota.
The dryer. It's either the washer and the dryer. They make that same. You can set them up to make that. Some of them have the thing where it makes a different noise, but all the traditional ones, most of them come with that same noise. So I always know it.
Politics for half a century is now scrambling to fill its entire statewide ticket while under federal criminal investigation. But it gets worse. Minnesota is indeed politically shifting. It's voting to the right of New Jersey. It's voting to the right of Virginia. And it looks as if it's but the latest Democrat stronghold to collapse. If Minnesota flips, if a state that's been blue for 54 consecutive years goes red, the entire upper Midwest becomes Republican territory. The blue wall doesn't just crack, it collapses. And Democrats lose any realistic path to the White House for the next generation. This is why they're fighting so hard. This is why organized networks are hunting ICE agents through Minneapolis neighborhoods. It's got nothing to do with immigration per se. It has everything to do with the fact that this is their Waterloo. This is their last stand. If the Hill's analysis is right and Minnesota really is following Michigan and Wisconsin into swing state territory, then what we're watching isn't just an immigration crackdown or a fraud investigation. We're watching the total realignment of American politics in real time and the end of the Democrat Party as we know it.